All right. Made a couple trades before the stream, up 150 bucks. There's some news coming out. Strike's still happening. The ceasefire is not really working, it looks like. Let's see if any vessels are going through the Strait of Hormuz. All right. What's this? Oil tanker from, I don't even know what the country that is. Doesn't look like it. There's a bunch here. Are they just parked? This one looks like it wants to return. So that's not positive. Got a little push in equities. Facebook's been ripping, or Meta. Went from 595 to like 623 bucks in a few minutes. That's a 5% jump. That's nice. Tesla's just been lagging. SanDisk and Intel up over 10%. ASML's up 8.26. With all these headlines coming out, I'm not sure if I want to make a trade right here. Might open up a practice account. What do we have coming up here? White House Levitt's going to speak in like 15 minutes. Netanyahu's supposed to speak in like 30 minutes. Yeah, we might see some news come here and move the market a bit. Just gonna put this under a practice account. And that's a pretty good higher lows, higher high. Pattern here. Is he going to stay in this channel? Channels are meant to be broken. Sometimes price action just stays in the channel for a while. Facebook's still going. Well, this is a practice account. Let's take a long on here, see if it wants to play out before the news. Maybe there'll be some news comes out and just dumps the market. We're up to 25,132 last night. We were up almost 20, like 25,250, 260 area. With a looking at the book, I mean, there's more volume up to the upside than down, but there's not much either way, honestly. It's like 100 contracts at 25,200. It's like another 100 at like 190. $25,150 would be a decent target. Yeah, I'm looking at the Mag 7. Looking at a couple other things. We got oil here on the side. Hasn't been really moving. Let's see what happens. Let's wait for Levitt. Let's see if these guys are gonna... Is she gonna speak on the White House YouTube channel? Doesn't look like it. JD Vance spoke yesterday. He didn't say much though. Yeah, the marine traffic, doesn't seem like anything's moving. I don't really know how to read this. I mean, there's a bunch of ships here. Kuwait. Like, this is where they want to go through. And there's not many ships here. Hey, who's this guy? This is the only one that's kind of going, but I think it's red. What does that mean? Is it stopped? The strait looks pretty empty. Doesn't look good. Trump hasn't said anything regarding the war anyways. He has been tweeting about... Oh, here we go. He said something here. So numerous agreements, lists, and letters are being sent out by people that have absolutely nothing to do with the USA-Iran negotiations. In many cases, they are total fraudsters, charlatans, and worse. They will be rapidly exposed after our federal investigation is completed. There is only one group of meaningful points that are acceptable to the United States, and we will be discussing them behind closed doors during these negotiations. These are the points that are the basis on which we agreed to a ceasefire. It is something that is reasonable and can easily be dispensed with. Dispensed? Dispensed with? It's very much like fake news CNN last night headlining a source that had no power or authority to write a letter claiming great authority, President Donald J. Trump. So don't trust the news, I guess. Is that what that means? I mean, look at equities. Equities are doing really good. Check out the equities, baby. That doesn't include SanDisk, Intel. They're up like 10% each. Well, this long is slowly working out. If there was someone in chat, I could like have some dialogue. Yeah, no one's watching. It sucks. All right, now there's a couple of orders at 25,135, about like 83 of them on the NQ. Well, if we get a couple more days like this, up 3% every day, that'd be great. 3% until 3% today, 3% tomorrow, 3% the other day, up like 9%. And the week up like 10%. That'd be sick. But long terms have recovered, but Tesla, I'm just overweight Tesla right now. Got about like 45 contracts of 45 shares of Tesla with an average of like, what's my average? 414. Ouch. I would need Tesla to go up like 18% just to break even. Wow. That's a horrible long term. I just kept adding when it was going down, and just kept going down. I love when that happens. DCAing when it doesn't work. The things that are keeping me afloat right now is like Intel, SanDisk, Gorilla Glass, Micron. Well, this long's working out on this practice account. That's usually the case. Practice accounts are way easier to trade. Just less thinking and just doing. So today's the best day in stocks since May 2025. Well, that was a long time ago. May 2025. So almost a year ago. Gold's up like 2.5%. What's silver doing? Silver's up 3.85. Raytheon's up 2.46. QQQ's up 3.25. Qualcomm's up 1.77. Palantir's down 3.4. Ouch. Got like 20 shares in that too. That's not doing too well. Procter and Gamble still underwater on that. Walmart, my average is like $100. So that trade's going pretty well. I'm just gonna step back. I gotta go get something. Alrighty, I'm back. Channel. Price is trying to break down on the channel here. Facebook's rolling over a bit. Yeah, not much going on. See if Levitt's speaking right now, is she? Everyone's waiting. The White House briefing on the Iran ceasefire. I don't know why I can't get this audio to work. There's a breakdown a bit. Huh. Why can't I get this audio to work? Don't know how to use OBS properly, that's for sure. Dang, gotta figure that out. Oh, there you go. I think I got it working now. We'll wait for Miss Levitt to start speaking. Let's see if we can hold a little bit of support here on the 9A. No, that's the VWAP. The 9-day moving average is pointing down. Any new truths an hour ago? Trader Brown, no, nothing. Nothing new. FOMC minutes and 40 minutes. Trump interview in 40 minutes. Netanyahu speaks. Has Netanyahu already spoken? Netanyahu's speaking right now. He's not speaking English though. Is that an ad?
מי שמנסה להתעלם מההישגים הכבירים הללו
Alright, is that all Netanyahu had to say? They're escalating strikes on Lebanon despite the US-Iran ceasefire. That's not good. Oil starting to climb back up. And in turn, equities are going down. What's really down right now? Exxon's down 5%, Chevron's down 5%, Palantir's down 4%, United Healthcare's down almost 0.5%. Well, that live event has ended. Let's close that off. Marine traffic is still dead at the Strait of Hormuz. Alright, Miss Levitt's on.
Before I discuss the ceasefire with Iran, I have a quick update from the First Lady of the United States. Yesterday marked the very first conviction under the Take It Down Act, landmark legislation that First Lady Melania Trump played an instrumental role in getting For the First Lady, and I know the President is very proud of his wife's efforts in getting this critical legislation passed to protect America's youth. So we thank the First Lady for her efforts, and we hope that others will report on this historic conviction yesterday. With respect to the 2-week ceasefire announced by President Trump last night, this is a victory for the United States of America that the President and our incredible military made happen. From the very beginning of Operation Epic Fury, President Trump stated this would be a 4 to 6 week military operation to dismantle the military threat posed by the radical Islamic Iranian regime. Thanks to the unbelievable capabilities of America's war fighters, the United States has achieved and exceeded those core military objectives in just 38 days. The U.S. military destroyed Iran's defense industrial base, crushing the regime's ability to manufacture weapons that they and their proxies use to maim and kill Americans and terrorize the world. Iran's ability to build and stockpile ballistic missiles and long-range drones has also been set back by years compared to where it was 6 weeks ago prior to the launch of Operation Epic Fury. We destroyed the vast majority of Iran's ballistic missiles, launcher vehicles, and long-range attack drones through more than 450 strikes on ballistic missiles and approximately 800 strikes on Iran's drone launching units and storage facilities. In total, more than 13,000 targets across Iran were struck. Again, this is in the matter of just 38 days. Meanwhile, the Iranian Navy was completely annihilated. The United States destroyed more than 150 naval vessels in total, including 16 entire classes of Iranian warships. Despite once being the largest undersea force in the Middle East, Iran now has 0 submarine vessels. 97% of Iran's once massive inventory of more than 5,000 naval mines has also been targeted and destroyed. Iran's air forces are functionally and operationally irrelevant at this point, after the United States maintained total air dominance over their country for weeks on end. To underscore the significance of this, before Operation Epic Fury, the Iranian Air Force would fly between 30 to 100 flights per day. Today, that number is 0. Iran's ability to fund and support its terrorist proxies has been greatly reduced. At this point, Iran can no longer distribute weapons to its proxies in the region. And most importantly, Iran will not be able to acquire nuclear weapons. Prior to the start of this successful operation, Iran was aggressively expanding its short-range ballistic missile arsenal. Through these weapons and its navy, Iran was attempting to build a military buildup around their country that would pose an imminent and existential threat to the United States military assets in the Middle East, our allies in the region, and ultimately the free world. Iran was pursuing this dangerous and aggressive strategy for one reason: to hold the entire world hostage to its terrorist ambitions. The Iranians aim to use their expanded military capabilities as a shield around their country to continue achieving their ultimate goal internally, building nuclear bombs. But their murderous and evil plans have been blown up, quite literally and figuratively, along with their military, their nuclear program, and most of their senior leadership, including the former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Their command and control structures were also massively disrupted after being struck more than 2,000 times. Many of their remaining leaders are paralyzed in fear and no longer enjoy the freedom to move around their country freely and meet openly. Thanks to the unmatched excellence of our warriors at the direction of the Commander-in-Chief, the world has just witnessed a historically swift and successful military triumph. President Trump started Operation Epic Fury with strategic military objectives, and the United States has clearly achieved them. As we mark this progress, we also remember and honor the 13 American heroes who laid down their lives in this noble effort. I know President Trump and our grateful nation honors their ultimate sacrifice, and we will never forget them. May God bless their families. The valiant efforts of all of our incredible service members created maximum leverage for the President of the United States, allowing he and his leadership team to engage in tough negotiations over the past couple of weeks that have now created an opening for a diplomatic solution and long-term peace in the Middle East. The President's maximum pressure and the leverage created by the success of Operation Epic Fury led to the Iranian regime asking for and ultimately agreeing to a ceasefire proposal with the United States. Iran could no longer tolerate being bombed or taking the gamble of what was to come following President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline last night. Iran has agreed to open the Strait of Hormuz, and as the president said, we have received a proposal from the Iranians that has been determined to be a workable basis on which to negotiate. I've seen a lot of inaccurate coverage today from the media about these negotiations and these plans already. So let me be clear and correct the record. The Iranians originally put forward a 10-point plan that was fundamentally unserious, unacceptable, and completely discarded. It was literally thrown in the garbage by President Trump and his negotiating team. Many outlets in this room have falsely reported on that plan as being acceptable to the United States, and that is false. With the president's deadline fast approaching and the United States military completely decimating Iran with each passing hour, the regime acknowledged reality to the negotiating team. They put forward a more reasonable and entirely different and condensed plan to the president and his team. President Trump and the team determined the new modified plan was a workable basis on which to negotiate and to align it with our own 15-point proposal. The president's red lines, namely the end of Iranian enrichment in Iran, have not changed. And the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd. The president will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America, and he as a negotiating team will focus on this effort over the next 2 weeks, so long as the Strait of Hormuz remains open with no limitations or delays. These extraordinarily sensitive and complex negotiations will take place behind closed doors over the course of the next 2 weeks. I would strongly advise the media against running with narratives that have no basis in fact. What Iran says publicly or feeds to all of you in the press is much different than what they communicate to the United States, the president, and his team privately. Never underestimate President Trump's ability to successfully advance America's interests and broker peace. President Trump has a proven track record of achieving good deals on behalf of the United States and the American people, and he will only accept one that puts America first. With that, I will take your questions today. I'm sure you have a lot of them. In our new media seat, we have Shane Harris with the AMAC Newsline. Shane, thank you for being here. Why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Caroline. 2 questions for you. First, following the president's announcement of the ceasefire, if this is indeed the end of hostilities in Iran, what is the president's message to the American people about what was achieved for our country through Operation Epic Fury?
Sure. I think I just laid out a significant portion of that in my opening remarks. 6 weeks ago, the president looked the American people in the eye directly, and he told them that he launched this operation to take out the imminent threat that was posed by Iran. And that threat has now been greatly destroyed. Their Navy, their missiles, their defense industrial base, and their desire and their plan to build a nuclear bomb inside their country is no longer going to be allowed, can no longer happen, thanks to the remarkable success of Operation Epic Fury over the course of the last 38 days. That has been absolutely achieved, and now we're moving into the next phase of this, which is a negotiating period to put some fine points on this and to hopefully broker an agreement that can achieve long-term peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, and then second, what is the president's message to American seniors who have a much higher voter participation rate and they're likely to be a key swing vote in the midterm elections?
Well, the president loves our seniors across the country. And as you know, the president signed the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut last year, which greatly reduced taxes on Social Security for our seniors. In fact, thanks to the Working Families Tax Cut, nearly 90% of seniors will no longer pay tax on their Social Security. That's a huge win for our seniors and also for our middle class and working families across the country with the no tax on tips provision and the no tax on overtime. Next week is tax week. You'll hear a lot from the president about how his policies have benefited the American people, and I'm proud to report that the president will be traveling next week to the great states of Nevada and Arizona to tout this historic accomplishment over the course of the next week. Thank you for being here, Shane. Gabe.
Thank you, Caroline. Iranian state media is saying that Iran has now closed off the Strait of Hormuz today in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. What's the White House response to that? And you just listed many military successes. I understand that. But strategically, how is the administration arguing that Iran does not have more economic leverage now than it did before the start of the war?
Sure. Well, with respect to the first reporting out of Iranian state media, the president was made aware of those reports before I came to the podium. That is completely unacceptable. And again, this is a case of what they're saying publicly is different privately. We have seen an uptick of traffic in the Strait today, and I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly and safely. That is his expectation. It has been relayed to him privately that is what's taking place, and these reports publicly are false.
Caroline, the president yesterday threatened that a whole civilization would die if a ceasefire deal wasn't reached, understanding that Iranian leaders have previously said death to America. But why is it appropriate for the president of the United States to use that kind of language when talking about civilian targets? And was the president mocking Islam by signing off his True Social post over the weekend, praise be to Allah? Wouldn't that antagonize Muslim allies across the world?
Well, I understand the questions about the president's rhetoric, but what the president cares most about is results. And in fact, his very tough rhetoric and his tough negotiating style is what has led to the result that you are all witnessing today. Iran publicly acknowledging last night that they have agreed or that they wanted this ceasefire with the United States because they no longer could tolerate being bombed by our very powerful and lethal military, and that they have committed to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which the president will hold them accountable for, and it's something the administration is closely monitoring in real time. Danny.
Should the world not take his word seriously?
The world should take his word very seriously in understanding that the president is always most interested in results. And it was the Iranians who backed down, not President Trump. He said that they would face very grave consequences, as you just laid out, by the 8 p.m. deadline if they did not agree to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. And what did they do last night? They agreed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Danny.
Thanks, Caroline. Would President
Well,
Trump
Marcus
like
not
to see
really
Lebanon
liking her
included
comments.
in this peace deal? As you know, there's been increased Israeli
She hasn't really said
strikes on
anything
Lebanon
new.
today with dozens of casualties there.
Sure. Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire. That has been relayed to all parties involved in the ceasefire. As you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu put out a statement last night in support of the ceasefire, in support of the United States' efforts, and he's also assured the president they'll continue to be a helpful partner throughout the course of the next 2 weeks.
Is there any thought, though, that the president might like to see Lebanon included at a future date, given that it seems to be causing or potentially undermining the Iran ceasefire?
Again, this will continue to be discussed, I am sure, between the President and Prime Minister Netanyahu, the United States and Israel, and all of the parties involved. But at this point in time, they're not included in the ceasefire deal. Jeff.
Caroline, will the U.S.
Official miracle. Oh, you came in. I missed you, bro. Sorry.
I can announce
Thanks for
that
stopping
the
by. I
president is
appreciate it.
dispatching his negotiating team, led by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Witkoff, and Mr. Kushner to Islamabad for talks this weekend. The first round of those talks will take place on Saturday morning local time, and we know we look forward to those in-person meetings.
What does the president see for the U.S. in monitoring or helping with the Strait of Hormuz going forward?
I think the president commented on that this morning. We're going to continue to monitor it very, very closely. We will be helpful in any way that we can.
Are you still here watching Official Miracle?
To do this, and the president has made that quite clear as well. It's again, as his statement said last night, the ceasefire is subject to the safe reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Again, this was just determined last night. We understand things take time, but that's the president's expectation, and he will hold everyone to it.
And once again, even now, we
Sure,
were
in the
talking
green
about
blazer.
Discord yesterday.
Well, this channel broke out, so that's
Andrew, you
not.
can go ahead.
Got like a head and shoulders pattern happening here.
I am actually wearing
It's a little brown to me, but go ahead.
Fair enough. So, regarding the president's rhetoric, when the U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003, George W. Bush said in a message to the Iraqi people that the military campaign was directed, quote, against the lawless men who rule your country and not against you. Yesterday, the president threatened to destroy Iran's civilization, the entire civilization. Not the Iranian government, but the Iranian civilization, the Iranian people. The U.S. has been a moral leader for most of its history by fighting wars against other governments, not against civilizations. How can the president claim that America can ever have the moral high ground if he's threatening to destroy civilizations and not casting wars as fights against other governments?
Andrew, I think you should take a look at the actions of this president over the course of the past 6 weeks and the actions of our brave men and women in our United States military who have taken out essentially taken out the military of a rogue Islamic regime that has chanted death to America for 47 years, that has killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers over the course of the last 5 decades. The president absolutely has the moral high ground over the Iranian terrorist regime, and for you to even suggest otherwise.
Well, I'm just
is
messing
frankly
around with
insulting.
a practice account right now.
Go ahead.
With all due
Oh, I thought I
respect,
deleted this
Go ahead.
channel.
there is
Just given
Came
what
back?
we've
What the?
seen in Lebanon today and the increased attacks from Israel, I mean, is there any concern that Netanyahu is trying to kill the ceasefire?
The president spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu last night.
We
And
got
in
no one
that
watching
private
right now.
conversation, Prime Minister Netanyahu relayed exactly what he said to the
That's
world
fine, I'm
public,
used
that
to
he
it.
supports the president, and Israel remains a key ally and partner to the United States. They've been a tremendous partner over the course of the past 6 weeks, and we thank them for their heroic efforts as well. The president had that conversation last night, and that was relayed to the world publicly as well. Reagan, go ahead.
Caroline, I have a question for you on
Order
Iran
book's pretty
and a
light.
question on the Dignity Act as well.
It's like 50 contracts at
On Iran, it's been
25,000 and
reported that the
10.
ceasefire was struck after the involvement of 2 unlikely factors, JD Vance and China. What role did those parties play in striking a deal?
Well, Vice President Vance has played a very significant and a key role in this since the very beginning. Of course, he's the president's right-hand man. He is the Vice President of the United States. He's been involved in all of these discussions, and as I just announced, he'll be leading this new phase of negotiations in Islamabad later this week. With respect to China, there were conversations that took place between top levels of our government and
Who would have thought
China's
that
government.
Pakistan's
The
going to be
president has
leading
great
the
respect for
negotiations,
President
baby?
Xi, and a great working
Good for
relationship
Pakistan.
with him and with that country, and he looks forward to visiting China in just a few weeks.
On the Dignity Act,
Let's see where
it's
the
getting a
tilt's
fresh
at.
push through Congress. It would give
It's
some
like 50,
illegal
50, 50
immigrants
across
in
the
the country
board.
a path to citizenship. What's the White House's position on this legislation, and would the president sign it if it made it to his desk?
Honestly, Reagan, I haven't spoken to the president about the legislation, but I will have that conversation, and we'll get you our formal position on it as soon as we can. You're welcome. Go ahead.
The president suggested in an interview this morning that he would support a joint U.S.-Iran.
I like these wicks here. I mean, that could be bullish. Let's add two contracts on this practice account. See if you get a pump here.
It's an idea the president has
Equities are
floated,
kind of
as you know,
flat.
and it's something that will
Tesla.
continue to be discussed over the course of the next 2 weeks. But the immediate
What's
priority of
Tesla
the
doing?
president is the reopening of the strait without any
Tesla's
limitations, whether in the
coming
form of
down
tolls or
again.
otherwise.
You know, on the highly enriched uranium, has Iran given the
Microsoft's coming
administration any
down.
indication that it would simply turn over?
Meta
the
might have just made
enriched
the high of the
uranium,
day
or
at
is this an
629.
expectation that the president has that he would have to send
Nvidia's trying to
ground
roll
troops
up.
in order to do that?
This is on the top
It's a
of
mixed
the priority
bag.
list for the president and his negotiating
Overall,
team
we're
as
up
they
for
head
the
into
day
these
quite a
next
bit.
round of
Sandisk
discussions.
is
And as
up
I said in my
11%.
opener, that is a red line that the president is not going to back away from, and he's committed to ensuring
It's been
that
one of my
takes place.
best long-term
We
plays
hope
for
it
the
will
last
be
like
through
month.
diplomacy.
Have they given any indication
have.
that they would turn it over?
They have.
The dollar's at 98.95. The
Trevor.
Dixie.
The latest news out of Iran is that the air defenses have been activated in several cities, including Isfahan, and that explosions have been heard in Isfahan. Who is bombing Iran right now?
Were those reports just as of a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously I'll have to go back and check with the national security team. I'm standing out here with all of you, but I will do that, and we will get you an answer, okay?
And just on the civilization question that we've been talking about.
And I would just add to that point, again, I haven't seen these reports. I'm not verifying them. Not that I don't trust you, Trevor, but I want to go back and check with the experts here at the White House. I would just say, and I would echo what the Vice President said this morning, this is a fragile truce. Ceasefires are fragile by nature. We've seen this with respect to the 12-day war with Iran and Israel last year. It takes time sometimes for these ceasefires to be fully effectuated. And one of the results of Operation Epic Fury was we completely dismantled Iran's command and control center, which makes it difficult for them to pass messages up and down the
Yeah,
chain.
this can go either
And
way.
so
There's
we
no-
understand that.
there's
I would
no
caution
volume.
a little bit of patience, but of course we want to see
One
the
trader can
ceasefire,
come in and
effectuated and
move the
abided
market
by
like
all
50,
parties
60
as quickly
points.
as possible.
Thank you. And the American presidential administrations, going back to Ronald Reagan, have said this formulation about nuclear war, that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. Is that still the view of this administration, given the president's comments about civilization?
I have no change in our view on that policy. Katie.
Thanks, Caroline. I'm just, given the gravity of what he said yesterday, what was your understanding of what he meant when he said, this civilization is going to be eliminated?
I think it was a very, very strong threat from the President of the United States that led the Iranian regime to cave to their knees and ask for a ceasefire and agree to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. So it was a very strong threat that led to results. And as the Secretary of War stated at the Pentagon this morning, it was not an empty threat by any means. The Pentagon had a target list that they were ready to hit go on at 8 p.m. last night if the Iranian regime had not agreed to open the strait, which they did, and I think that's something we should all be grateful for.
The United States is a moral leader in the world, given that
I was asked this exact same question by your colleague Andrew in the back, and I think, again, the insinuation by anyone in this room that Iran somehow has the moral high ground over the United States of America is insulting, considering the atrocities that they have, committed against our people and our military over the past 5 decades. John, go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. 2 questions for you. One has to do with
Okay.
the joint statement put
I
out
got a little
this morning
wick up
by,
almost to my
some
entry.
of America's European allies, our NATO allies. And in that joint statement, they said regarding the Strait of Hormuz, our governments will contribute to ensuring freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. What's the administration's reaction to that joint statement? Does that smooth things over when the president meets with NATO Secretary General a little bit later this afternoon?
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over the course of the last 6 weeks when it's the American people who have been funding their defense. As you know, President Trump will be meeting with Secretary Ruta in a couple of hours here at the White House, and I know he looks forward to having a very frank and candid conversation with him.
And then secondly, in regards to this conflict, 38 days, as you pointed out, President Trump has said that there's been regime change. Has that regime change led to more freedoms for the Iranian people?
I think that's a question that's being asked a little bit too early, John, and we hope that is the case, but it's something that has yet to be seen. Eamon.
Caroline, on this question of tolling by the Iranians in the Strait of Hormuz, I've heard you talk about a number of red lines that the president has in this negotiation, but I haven't heard you say that Iranian tolling in the Strait of Hormuz is a red line. Would it be acceptable to the United States at the end of all this if the Iranians are able to charge tolls in the Strait of Hormuz?
I think the president was very clear and simplistic in his language last night in his Truth Social post, where he said that this ceasefire is subject to the free, safe, and immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. That's very plain language, and it should be taken at face value.
You mean free
Carrie.
charge?
Carrie, go ahead. Without limitation, including tolls, yes. Carrie.
Quick follow-up on the tolling. Why would the U.S. allow Iran to collect tolls in the Strait of Hormuz? That's not something that we've opposed for a number of years now.
Again, that's not something we've said that we've definitively accepted. The joint venture is something that was proposed by the president, but he was very clear in his statement last night. He wants to see the strait reopened immediately without limitation, and that's something we're going to hold them to. Yes, in the blue.
A second question on
family and friends in Iran. I myself am Iranian, and I've been talking to them through the blackout. One of my family members yesterday said goodbye to me. So what message should we be sending Iranians when they message me saying what should they be doing right now? How should they stay safe? Because they really don't know what to do.
I think the president's main priority, and my main priority as his spokeswoman, is to make sure that clear messages are sent to the American people, of course, which is my job today. With respect to the Iranian people, the president, has taken out the imminent threat that was posed by their military to the United States, to our allies in the region, to our forces in the region, and of course, as the president has long said, he hopes that Iran will be a country of peace, of prosperity, and we're moving into this next round of negotiations to hopefully come to an agreement with this new regime that will create long-term stability in the Middle East.
He has said that they should stay inside of their homes and also take back their country. So there's a contradiction there. So how do you address that?
Again, we're moving into this next round of negotiations with the remnants of the regime and those that we are speaking with now to hopefully reach a place of peace long term for the region, and that includes the Iranian people as well. In the blue, go ahead.
The White House posted the statement from the Iranian government that the passage in the strait will be coordinated with Iran's armed forces. As of today, who controls the Strait of Hormuz?
Again, these statements were put out 12 hours ago. We expect that the strait will be opened immediately. As I've said earlier, we have seen an uptick in traffic in the strait, and it's something that we are monitoring minute by minute, hour by hour as the days go on.
Marine traffic is...
Questions. One on the deportations of Iranian officials, and then on the negotiations. Are there still security concerns about Vice President Vance being part of these peace talks? Steve Witkoff.
This area is just empty. There's no one going through. Who's this?
Ongoing deportation of Rouhani's niece. Does the Trump
Got two tankers here.
deport more relatives or?
I don't even think these are tankers. Oh, these are tankers as well, huh?
Certainly, anyone who is here fraudulently, I understand one of the individuals who their visa was revoked by Secretary Rubio and they were deported by ICE. They had a fraudulent asylum claim. That's against the laws of the United States. So anyone who is here illegally or fraudulently is subject to our nation's immigration laws and will be removed from our country. And I know this continues to be a top priority for the State Department, working in conjunction with the Department of Homeland Security. With respect to the safety of the Vice President, we fully trust the United States Secret Service to do their job, to keep the Vice President and the President's negotiating team safe. They do a tremendous job, and we fully trust them to do that.
Caroline.
In the back, go ahead.
The President has said Cuba is next. What's the message to the American people regarding Cuba, and what can Cubans expect in relation to this statement?
Well, look, I think when President Trump said that, and he later clarified after making that statement, that he meant the Cuban regime is bound to fall. The country is very weak. They're in a very weak position economically, obviously, financially. The Cuban people are fed up with their government, as they should be. And these talks and discussions continue to happen at the highest level of our government. I don't have any updates or announcements for you with respect to Cuba policy today. Good to see you.
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary Hegseth said this morning that U.S. troops would be sticking around. Can you expound upon that, what we should expect from U.S. troops in theater for the next 2 weeks and beyond?
I would defer you to the Pentagon for any specifics on assets that have been in place in the Middle East, but take the Secretary at his word, and also the President has reiterated this as well in his own words.
No, there's no trade to be made here. I mean,
again, this is a 2-week
got
ceasefire.
a couple people speaking. What else is coming up?
We'll have a good agreement between the United States and Iran, but in the meantime,
Trump interview. I don't know what that's about.
Always at the ready of
I don't know where that's going to be. FOMC minutes are coming out.
In the back. Sure.
Thank you.
Trump meets NATO's route.
On NATO, can you tell me,
is that the president of NATO or something?
Withdrawing from NATO? Is that still a possibility?
It's
there's a bunch of talks coming
and
out.
I think it's something the president will be discussing in a couple of hours with
The
Secretary
algos
General
are probably
Rita,
waiting
and perhaps you'll hear directly from the
for some
president following that
keywords.
meeting
Why
later
does
this
my
afternoon.
channel keep
Thank
showing
you,
up? I
everyone.
deleted it like 5 times. Oh. What just happened
This
there?
afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, okay. She just left. Okay. All right. Well, that was that. Didn't bring no clarity into anything. Now we wait for Trump. Let's see what Mr. Donald J. Trump has to say now.
they'll be hit even harder. Thank you very much for being here. Go ahead, any questions?
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
Do you approve of Iran's new supreme leader? And secondly, can you tell us more about your call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today?
Yes.
What did you discuss?
Yes, I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about
Let's see. Let's
Ukraine,
hear Trump
which is
talk.
just a
See what he has to
never-ending
say. Let's see if he can pump the market.
And, look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East. And he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over? Are
No,
you talking
but soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very
to...
soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are 2 levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But 2 levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
To Cuba, you said that Cuba wants to make a deal.
Yes.
What would the United States get in return for that, and why should Americans trust Marco Rubio to negotiate it?
Well, Marco Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a presidency. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco, and so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're really they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living on the Cuban-American vote, which I got at record levels. Very important. Those people are very important to me. I know what they went through. They went through hell. Some of them have gone on to be some of the most successful people in the country. Cuban-American business people, some of them are like the most successful in the country. And a lot of them are friends of mine because I've been fighting this battle with them for a long time. The Castro regime was brutal, but they lived off Venezuela. Now they don't live off Venezuela. Sends them no energy, no fuel, no oil, no money, no nothing. They lived without Venezuela. They couldn't have made it. And we cut them off from everything else. So, yeah, they're going to make either a deal or we'll do it just as easy anyway. Yeah. Please, go ahead.
And a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility
Well, I
for
haven't
that strike?
seen it. And I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries. You know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more. But whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries. But that's being investigated right now. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
It's the beginning of building a new country. But they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war has been over for 3 days. We wiped them out in the first 2 days. When you think about it, it's incredible. We wiped out a big Navy, very powerful Navy. You know, these were ships, these were serious ships. These were ships that you buy when you want to win battles. They're all on the bottom floor. The sailors are all running off their ships. They refuse to get on the ships. The Air Force is gone. Everything's gone. The missiles are down to a trickle. The drones are down to probably 25%, and they'll soon be down to nothing. We'll have where they manufactured the drones are under fire as we speak. They're being hit. So the rest is going to be a determination as to my attitude, along with the people in the Trump administration, what we want to do. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Can I ask you, you mentioned you were going to waive certain additional oil waivers or sanctions. Can you talk a little bit more about that and address in particular?
Well, we're looking to keep the oil prices down. We went artificially up because of this excursion into a very positive thing. I mean, this was an excursion that a lot of people wouldn't have done. I knew oil prices would go up if I did this, and they've gone up probably less than I thought they'd go up. But I don't think anybody thought we were going to be this quickly successful. This was a military success, the likes of which people haven't seen. We have the best military. We have the best equipment.
Well, we're pumping up a little bit.
Have, I believe, the best generals.
Are we
going
to continue the taco pump?
And this went very quickly.
Let's see.
We talked about that with President Putin. He was very impressed with what he saw because nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. You know, Iran was a very powerful military country with all of the missiles. Now, you had the double attack. You had the original attack with us and Israel, and that knocked them for a loop. Then you had the B-2 bombers, which took out their nuclear capability, and they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks to 4 weeks. And they would have used it long before this press conference. And we might have had a much different
All right, let's look at
press
the
conference if we had a press conference at all.
book map
but
here.
It's been amazing. The
There's not much
military
liquidity
success
anywhere.
that we've had is truly unprecedented.
You've told your congressional
All right, let's put a
colleagues
long
that
in
you will
here.
not sign any piece of legislation until the Save America Act is passed. Does that include the confirmation
So you can get
of
over
Senator Mullen as your next
116.
DHS secretary? Does that mean a DHS funding bill? And Senator Thune
That'd
said
be
today
nice.
it's not a matter of whether or not
Otherwise,
your
this might
Republican
just
colleagues
be
agree
a
with the policy.
head and
it's about
shoulders
changing
batter.
the process. In other
I'm gonna
words,
cut
getting rid
this
of
if
the
it-
filibuster to get there.
So in order to get it, you're going to need
The next
Democrat
candle in
votes.
green.
And what we're saying is the Save America, not the SAVE Act, which nobody knew what it was, the Save America Act. The Save America Act. And that's voter ID. We want voter ID. We want to be able to see a picture of the voter. We want to be able to see that the voter is legitimate. We want, very importantly, confirmation that this voter is a citizen of the United States of America, and we want no mail-in ballot scams. So we have exceptions for the military, for sick, for disabled, and for people that are
There
away.
we go. Let's see. We're going to break through.
Business trips or whatever. Even
It's
vacations.
got to break to
will be very
116, and we can
liberal on that. We've added two things to it: no men and women.
maybe come all the way up to 157. Let's go. Come on.
Mutilization of.
You know
our
what? I'm just going to
children.
put a
We don't want
stop
our-
here.
the-
Not confident
it's
in the trade. It's not an
mutilization
A-plus
of our
setup.
children. And we don't want that. So we added those two things. That's
It's
the
more of a
5
momentum
points. They're
trade.
5 very good points. It polls at 86% with Democrats. Think of that. The overall vote is 86%. With
That's ugly, red
Republicans,
candle.
it's 98%. And the only one opposed to it is a Democrat leadership because they cheat.
It's a decent
They wanna
wick.
cheat. So we added those 2 points. We're going for the gold.
We got to take a phone
And we're going to
call.
have to fight like hell. Now, certain things will happen. Certain things will take place. I'm here to do a great job for the country. But we don't have a country, if we're going to have elections that are so corrupt and so dishonest like we've witnessed over the last period of time. You know, as an example, virtually nobody has a system of mail-in ballots like we have. No other country in the world. France went away from it. They all went, you know why? Because it's corrupt. And Jimmy Carter, when he had a commission, frankly, I think it's probably the best thing Jimmy Carter did. He said, you can't have mail-in voting because it's inherently dishonest, and it's turned out to be totally dishonest, so we're going to fight for it. Yeah.
Iran activated any sleeper cells inside the U.S. There's reports that they have pressed that trigger button to activate those cells, at least abroad.
Well, they've been trying for a long time. We've been very much on top of it. One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown, because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that, Schumer and the Democrats have shut it down, which tells you they probably hate our country a lot. But the Democrats have to open that up. But we've got very, very good intelligence into that. We know a lot of different things that have happened that have been very bad. A lot of them came in during the Biden open border period, but we have them under, we've got them, we're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them. The biggest problem we have is the Democrat shutdown. We know a lot about them, but the shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
Do you have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
How can there be an Iran with
Well,
another
I don't want to say that, but you know, I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Thank you, sir. You've said you have someone in mind to be the new Iranian leadership, if not the Ayatollah's son. What are you looking for in that person? Are you looking at someone internal, given that you just said that their leadership has been decimated?
I like the
and
idea
wiped
of, internal and eternal, come to think of it. But I like the idea of internal because it works well. I mean, I think we've proven that so far in Venezuela. We have a woman, Delcy, who has been, president.
All right, this trade's working out. Up a few points.
And it's, no disruption. We had, as you remember, Iraq, where everybody got fired. The military got fired, the police got fired, the politicians got fired. There was nobody. And you know what they turned into? ISIS.
I think I might cut this trade right now.
We don't want that. So
wait for a
I would
pullback
like to see people that are inside.
down to like the 25,115 area.
You talk about other people, but hasn't been there in many, many years.
Maybe buy back in.
We have a formula that's been very good so far, and I think it'll continue to be good. The relationship is extraordinary with Venezuela, smart country. And we've taken out 100 million barrels of oil right now in Houston, being taken care of and made so beautiful.
Okay, well, the VWAP's moving. Oh, actually, this is VWAP, right?
It's
Yeah,
brought to
that's
the
VWAP.
refineries. It's being refined in Houston, which is made exactly for that product. And so far, but it's 100
Well, we got the 9 EMA at 118,
barrels of oil,
20
and now they have
EMA at
another
108,
100 million barrels coming.
50 EMA at 103.
It's like a partnership. We're getting along so well with them.
And they're all pointed
it's
up.
great for Venezuela, and it's
It's
great
looking
for the
somewhat
United
bullish.
States. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please.
You said earlier that we've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. What do you consider enough? What's your baseline?
Where they're not going to be starting the following day to develop a nuclear weapon. Where they'll look at that man and some other people from the administration and say, all right, we're not going to do it. They were not willing to say that. And when Steve called up and he said that to me, I said, well, here we go. Let's do it the hard way. But the hard way, I think, is probably the easy way. When basically I can see that they will no longer have any capacity whatsoever for a very long period of time of developing weapons.
Could I add one thing? What the president is doing today with these sanctions is putting more pressure, of course, on both parts, in this case on Russia. It's all about changing the calculus. making sure that
Can't find a live stream for Trump and Root here. I think this one's
We have a
it.
very close relationship, and they want to see it end too. They really want to see it end. But I can say they're totally committed. If this went on for 10 more years, Europe is behind them. And they just can't let that happen. You can't let what's been going on. Now, it should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president. But it did happen. I inherited. This was Biden, a man who was, without question, you take a look at the new walkway, the Presidential Walk of Fame, we call it. Biden is the worst president we've ever had, if he was even a president. The people that surrounded that desk made those decisions. But this should have never happened. It wouldn't have happened.
Let's see if Trump says anything interesting.
One. Hopefully soon.
Everything Mag 7 is back, including Tesla. Meta is up 7.7%.
Wow.
Let's look at the equities.
Really?
Fake. Wall Street Journal is fake.
Yeah, they got some
Less
free
fake
press
than
with the
financial,
Citrini
but it's
analyst
on
with the
gossip.
meta glasses in the Strait of Hormuz.
Ah.
That'll send you.
There you go. Amazing
Okay.
what tilts it these days, huh?
No, it said that I gave Ukraine permission to
is.
shoot missiles deep into Russia.
As I mentioned when we came
Second
on
of all,
this
they're not using our
morning,
missiles, they're using, I think, European
switch to
missiles
the,
are from someplace,
go to my
but they're not
charts,
using
to the
ours.
SPX
And
here.
what they do, I don't control that, but I do control our missiles.
We're really getting
They're not
back
shooting our
into
missiles. It was a fake story. Wall Street Journal
this.
does a lot of
I'm
fake
never
stuff.
going to overlap two of these things again. 1 second. I was trying to see how many bars it was. We're back at the bottom of this range we were in forever. We spent 50 trading days in the SPX between 6,800 and 7,000 on the upside.
Right.
Well, he's a thug.
So do we accept
Bad guy. He's a guy
above? That would be about.
all payments going to
This is a daily?
the country, Colombia.
Yeah, those were daily. Here, I'll show it one more time.
We made a settlement with him. But,
These are daily
no, he's a
candles in the
thug.
SPX. Whenever I'm
He's a
looking
bad
back
guy, and he's hurt his
more
country very
than
badly. They're doing
a
very
month or a
poorly in
few months, I
Colombia.
like using the
They make
spot market
cocaine, they have
because
cocaine
it just makes
factories.
things cleaner.
They grow all sorts of
But yeah,
crap
what a
that's
gap
drugs,
up we
bad
left
drugs
last
coming
night
into
here.
the United
Oh, yeah.
States goes
You know what I'm
generally
upset?
from
We never got a chance.
And,
We never got a chance to play
gotta
around with
watch
the
it all, take very
reacceptance of the
serious
200-day
action
moving
against
average.
him and his country. His
In
country
the
is
SPX was
what he has led his country into is a
66.
death trap.
Let's call it 6,600 about in the futures, and we just shot through that without a chance
You
to
might
make
still
a
get a
trade.
trade. Right? It's just like, okay, we're going to start the day at the 200.
no
Let's see what
general
happens.
peace plan. But I'm here for not only really
Isn't that
One day
amazing?
we could have had a whole show about the discourse. I have it marked down here on my chart of, will we accept or will we reject here, but it wasn't to be.
Well, let's see if it's going to be the buy the rumor, sell the news type of event.
Yeah, this is Wednesday. Let's give it some.
Give it 2 days.
Hump day. Yeah.
Give it till the weekend. Give it till the weekend.
It's so crazy when you have a crazy trading day on a Monday or Tuesday and you think, oh my gosh, is this really only like Tuesday?
Oh, yeah.
The countries of NATO. I think made
That's when you
much
know your
better
mental
by
capital's spent.
visit a few months ago.
Or sometimes I look at Hoag's levels and I think, oh well, that blew past it, and then later you look at the end of the week and you're like, actually, it turned out to be a tail, right at it.
Well, we went to Hoag's weekly kickoffs, I think, in one day. Weekly kickoff high and
They're
low.
paying 5% as opposed to not paying 2%. A lot of them weren't paying, with the exception of Spain.
If you look closely, you can see it in my eyes, like during the reversal challenge on Friday. These last few weeks, I'm usually just a broken man.
And you could solve the Spain problem very easily, I think.
Hey.
Yeah, Brian?
I wonder if
Yeah, go ahead.
booze sales are up right now.
It's one good thing here is happy hour starts earlier because market closes
It's always
at
happy.
10.
Why? Right?
I mean,
beef, the
maybe.
ranchers, let's say.
Those consumer staples. There you
Done a
go.
great job. I've loved their shirts for many, many years.
Peaking at
They've
68.30
really
in the
been
ES.
decimated.
What's Bitcoin
And I
doing?
helped them a lot. I put tariffs on things.
Yeah, what
coming
is
in
Bitcoin doing?
It popped yesterday at the same time. It was up to 72
have a decent
at some point
Yeah,
yesterday.
71,930.
We are going to be
71,930.
talking to them.
Yeah,
They're
the
great people.
spot
but
market's
they've been hurt for
71,740 or
losing
thereabouts in
because other
Bitcoin. I
countries
was
have taken
interested to
advantage
see
of
what
it.
happened. I guess
And
these
by putting
like
tariffs
tolls
on,
or
they've
whatever
been
for
able to
Iran
make
are
a few
being
dollars. They've been
paid
able
in
to have an
crypto.
industry.
And when they
But
say
I also
crypto, I
wanna
presume
keep the
Iran's
beef
not getting
prices low.
paid in
So I'll be
Dogecoin.
talking with the
So,
ranchers, and I'll be speaking with
yeah, I agree with
a lot
you,
of
yes.
different people, including Scott and Howard, and we'll do something because prices are way down in our
gonna
country.
cancel
Energy
this
is
order.
way down. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline very soon. I
Do
see
they?
that it's $2.50
On one
for a
hand,
lot
it
of
definitely
places,
shows a
$2.50.
real-world use
We were
case for
heading to
crypto.
$5,
On the
$6, and
other,
$7.
how does your marketing
If
department
Biden
feel
didn't
at
go back to my policy
Coinbase? Do you
toward the
pump
end,
up? It's like,
we
hey,
would've
you
seen-
know,
but he didn't go back to the
reprocess
full
the
policy,
straight
and he missed the
payments
most
to
important
the
thing. So we were
IRGC.
up to, you know, we were way up. I think you're going to see
Yeah.
$2 gasoline. We could even break that number. That's a big difference. The only
Right.
cost that's really up is beef.
News.
And the
Dow is
fake
starting to get to
news
an interesting
only
level
wants to
here.
talk about beef.
At
And
48,
what I
if we get
did
to
is I made it
4,200 in the
possible for
Dow,
those people to survive. They're incredible
I might
people. But they were being
a little bit
decimated by other
interested up
countries,
there for
and I didn't want that to happen.
maybe a
So
potential short.
prices are
I
way
don't know
down,
yet.
groceries are down, everything's
I'm
down.
kind of liking
energy's
that
way
48,
down.
200,
Even interest rates with a
230s.
bad chairman of the Fed. He's terrible. He's a fool.
Not to trade P&L,
Even
but if I get
interest
this
rates are
above
down.
150, I may call it
Our
a day if
country
it's
has
if
never
we're not
done
getting
better.
much movement.
We're going to take in, I think,
Collect those
21
150s.
trillion dollars this year.
Well,
No country has
guys,
ever taken
there
in more
is
than three.
massive. I kind of like
And we're
these
gonna take
longs
in
now,
$21 trillion
Vince.
of
There
investments
is
because of the tariffs.
massive, truly
If we didn't have
massive. I
tariffs,
didn't
we
even
would be
until I
a
like
mess. We would
clicked
be
on the
a
actual
national
things. They were getting
security
shrunk.
problem. We've done a
Massive
job.
negative
So we're
gamma
very happy about that.
above
We're going to do something very quickly and easily.
the
on
green
beef
line
to
on my
get it
charts
down.
there. If we get through that,
Yep.
The ranchers understand that.
you
They're
can
so
get
happy
this.
for what I've done. I saved them. I don't
You
think
can get
you'd
this
have any
thing
beef
really
in this
rocking
country
and
if I
rolling to
didn't
the
do that.
upside if we can get
So we're very
through.
proud of that. Yeah, Brian?
We get the 6,800 in the SPX. In fact,
Yeah, sure.
I'm still
are
working
you
the
long now,
long, so-
Vince?
Not yet.
You
I'm
working it?
still
Where you work?
working it. Yeah, I'm working it. Let's see if we get this bull back here and I can get filled.
Yeah, it definitely is
pullback.
pulling back on that just a little bit.
I like
All
to see
right,
the
we got a little
pullback.
drop
Try to be
here.
patient.
Gavin has to be careful. Remember
Let's
that
see the
when I
book
first
map.
came into a terrible
They're
riot
wrecking.
in
There you
Los
go.
Angeles,
There you go.
fires, which
There you
didn't
go.
have-
A little bit.
They didn't have the water for the fires. They
Question
should have
is
the water.
why?
Let's
We got.
put a buy order in here.
They didn't
Let's
have the
see.
waters, they
We're
didn't
gonna
have
get
the
wrecked.
hydrants or the sprinklers.
I'm gonna add
Those
one.
value
They
high.
had the riot.
6830s is
And
value
if
high.
we didn't go and
Ooh,
take
something,
care of that riot, you
something,
would've
Yeah,
lost
something
those
happened.
houses.
No, and
You
I'm
would've
gonna move
canceled
this
the
stop
Olympics
up here.
because
Oh.
it made
Gotta
you
get
Los
my
Angeles.
stops in place.
And the
Ouch.
police
I don't wanna risk a
commissioner,
lot
the head
on
of
this
the
trade.
police said,
Especially with that just
if the
happening.
president didn't
All
go
right.
in, we
Yeah,
would've
talking about
We're long. We're
non-compliance.
long 5
Right.
MES,
we did not have the
6875.
capability of taking care of it.
See what we got
We said
here.
it very strongly.
It's a pretty
And we did a
strong
great
dump.
job. And
Let's
within a
see.
week, it was
Short
all
lived.
done. Within one
Anything
day, it
come
was
here?
like that
done.
candle.
In a week,
Trump
it
didn't
was
say
all
anything
done.
that in wild.
I don't like
Wow.
Oh
And
no,
then they
that,
go back to
Up
their
or out. That was
Wow.
short
normal
lived.
practice of
Alrighty.
weakness, of
Let's
not
put in one more
taking
order.
care of criminals,
Might have to get out
taking
quick.
care
I'm
of
still
putting them
in,
jails where they
decent,
should be.
but a pretty wide
Washington,
stop loss.
D.C., and you all are the best people for that because Washington,
Interesting.
D.C. is now one of the
So
safest
anything come
cities
out?
I got
in the world.
long
Anybody
one.
aware?
Dangerous
Yeah, something
cities
most
in the
certainly
country.
came
Now,
out.
Washington,
We'll
D.C., believe it or not,
digest it in a
Okay.
second.
to say it
Is
is,
there anything?
but Washington,
Big.
D.C.
Oh, the
went from
FOMC
one
made
of the
it.
worst, most
Did
dangerous
they say
cities
something wild?
to, you can
Yeah,
walk
it
down
kinda
the
blew
street,
through
you can
that
send your child to
range
meet you
pretty-
at a location. Your child is
good.
going to be fine. We have a
Yeah, that was
very,
kinda
very
crazy.
safe
The book
city, one
map
of the
was,
safest. And,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
stop
very
a
proud
little
of
tight
that.
there, but
Memphis, by the way,
liquidity
is
is
coming
dried
along
up.
fantastically. We're in Memphis right now. We had the FBI in Chicago. We're doing things. We haven't
Can we
started.
get a little reversal here?
Chicago will be
These
very
intraday
quickly a
just
very, very safe city.
Hey,
But if you
bombs
look at what's
are so
happening in
annoying.
Memphis, it's
They're
great. But
just.
you got to look at
Let's just take
Washington.
one
People
off.
coming up
Let's
to
see
me,
if we're
people that
gonna
work in the
go
White
up
House are
there.
saying, "Thank you, sir."
We see the news
You know what?
anything yet?
Let's
Anything financial?
let's
I haven't seen anything.
cut it off.
They would never walk to work.
I'm a little frozen
That
at the
was ugly.
They
second.
can walk into work and they feel
They sold it
safe
all before
and
the news
secure,
dropped,
and it's
probably.
beautiful. And I'll tell you what, it's really an honor to add that great ballroom to the structures in Washington. It's going to
That's
be one of the great
frustrating.
ballrooms
All
of
right.
the world, and I think it's going to be something you're all going to be very proud of.
Wait, it looks like I thought I wanted to see meeting minutes. this
I
morning.
think we'll make a deal. I think
That was
we're
a,
going to make a deal.
should have been a
on
one,
the rare
right?
earth is the least of it. Look, the tariffs are much more powerful than the rare earth. The rare earth
Here,
is a
I
disturbance.
scratch that for now until I can figure out what's going on.
More calls on
Yeah.
rare
Okay,
earth. We've got it, everybody's. We'll make a deal on, I think,
see
everything.
some stuff
I
from
think we're
Iran.
gonna make a deal on soybeans and the
What
farmers.
is it referring to? In such a
I think we're gonna make
situation, a
a deal
bilateral
on,
ceasefire or
maybe
negotiations
even
is
nuclear.
unreasonable.
President Putin in his call mentioned to me about nuclear.
Like I said, it's like which way is the wind going to
de-escalation,
blow in 5 minutes?
And I'm fine with that. I think it's good. I think it's a very
Yeah,
important
it
thing.
didn't quite
We have
blow.
the
It didn't
most
quite
nuclear
make the same
weapons.
move
Russia's second.
down as it did
China is
up. When
actually
the,
third by a long way, but
No,
they'll be even
no, we're
within 4
about
or 5
like
years.
170
Too
ES
many.
points short of that.
And we are talking about de-escalation that's already being talked
Just a
about.
little ways to go.
And I think we'll probably
might get you a chance to touch the 200.
That would be
strange. I don't know what happened there. Got a nice
talking to him about it. I think it's a
should
little bit
buying
of
opportunity. Got a couple
Yeah,
wicks
so
down
fast.
here, but I mean,
Told
this
me
can
they are-
continue
No, it's
down.
just-
Stop, it's a process. You can't just stop it.
I mean, they're still a head and
Stop
shoulders in
Here,
a
they'll
way.
be down to almost nothing.
I feel like getting long again, to be
It's
honest
a
with
big
you.
thing. That was almost
But
40%
we're gonna
of the
be
oil in
patient.
India.
Yeah.
They've been great.
Till I have a
Spoke
better
to
idea
Prime
of.
Minister Modi yesterday. They've been absolutely great. China's a little bit different. They're a little bit different relationship they have with Russia. It was never good, but because of Biden and Obama, they got forced together. They should never have been forced together, but they're a little bit forced. But they're by
Let's
nature,
see,
they're
I'll
not.
do.
They can't be friendly. They can't be.
Yelp.
By nature.
Tilt
I hope they are
is
friendly,
38%
frankly, but
long.
Yeah.
they-
Well,
you don't want,
crude
you
pop
should not have
almost
forced Russia and China
$2
together. And
on that.
Biden did that, and
The
Obama
trouble
did
with
that.
like
They
the
forced
tilt
them
in a
together
fast
because of
market like
energy,
this, Chad, and maybe when if you get the info, maybe you
so
can
they
figure out a way
are
to negate this.
closer than
Is
they
that
would normally be.
you know you'll
I think
see
I'll
people
probably be talking about it. What I'll really be
you get that
talking to them
move
about
down
is
like
how do we
like
end the
what's it
war
say
with
right
Russia
now?
and Ukraine, whether it's through oil or energy or anything else.
I'm
And
sure
I
it
think
was.
he's gonna be
It'll say
very
63%
He
short.
would
It'll be
now
interesting
like-
to see
I'm not
once
sure
I
that he
can
did
get
at
that
the beginning.
information
He
what
would
to
now
do
like
with
to see
it.
that
But because I'm trying to look at it more as like a slow building RSI type thing, where it's
What really dumped? Oh,
gradually
Tesla dumped.
when it reaches a certain
Tesla's
level.
just-
If it,
Yeah, I do. I think he can
let's
have
say
a big
I think I need to
80%
start.
long,
I think he can have a big
and
I'm
you get
too
one
overweight
down
on
there,
Tesla on my
which
long
hasn't
term.
reflected yet.
Need to get rid of some of that.
leader of a very
That could be,
big
you know,
country.
honestly, until I get the information,
It's
it's
down
not gonna
0.5%
really
again.
like
Like,
play
come
with it
on.
enough to
The
see
dollar's
what
going
it
up. The
is.
dollar is almost at.
Sure.
It's at 99. The
And we
Dixie's
should've
at
got those shorts up there,
99.
Jack 6830s. That
Microsoft
would've been a
keeps
nice
dumping.
buy. That's what we're looking to sell them.
Apple keeps dumping. All the gains are being given away.
we got
SanDisk and Intel
lot
still doing
of
good.
Negative.
And so is,
news
Corning.
filtering out today, but
ASML
really
still up
has
there.
not
I mean, Meta's up 7.3%. That's huge.
changed the perception. from the
Micron's
move
still up
last night.
7%, almost 8. Freeport Macroman's up almost 8. Veritiv Holdings up
Interesting
almost
when the
8.
fundamentals matter and when they don't.
Taiwan Semiconductors up 6%.
Truly.
We have Delta negative 20,000 in ES. Is that right?
For one thing, and that is to make sure that we end.
I don't have that, so
Oh,
maybe
you're in the chat?
Hope's around. You can check.
I'll be back.
Showing negative 20,000.
To break the deadlock with Putin, get the dialogue
20,400.
going, also with Zelensky, and getting this war
It's a
done
lot of
is
shorts,
crucial.
if that's right.
And the fact that the US is now supplying weapons into Ukraine,
There's a lot of
based on their
shorts.
allies, is extremely important, and that's now happening since 2-3 months. About 2 billion moving into.
Well, that was a special treat for the 1 o'clock hour.
Yeah, thank you.
We did for now bounce exactly off of overnight VWAP
Do a
in
ceasefire,
the
and
ES.
then have all your discussions about territory and whatever. But first, stop the war.
What if I
That's
caught
what's on
slippage on that?
Friday. And on Sunday, we
It's a
have to
war.
make-
I mean, your question.
Iran's parliament speaker. 3 key clauses of 10-point proposal were violated before the start of negotiations.
And we're not selling any weapons to Ukraine. We're selling.
This is getting a little
them to
saucy
NATO,
for me.
Which
You know,
is different from before. With
Yeah.
Biden, he just gave $350 billion.
Green on the
worth of
screen, I
weapons
made
and
$2
cash
on that.
right into Ukraine. And
Chuck.
that was so foolish. But we sell them to NATO, and in theory,
Hey, $2 is $2, right?
It is.
Ukraine, but probably
Buy some Wrigley's
No, what
gum.
nations are doing now is buying from this program and making sure that the supply is in
Europe.
I suppose I could.
And for example, these are interceptors for the Patriot systems, crucial to protect the cities. Today, again, a Russian attack.
I also just think if I was a buyer yesterday, there's, I mean, it wouldn't take much for me to like want to get out and say, you know what, that was great, make some profit, and sit on the sidelines for a couple days.
Of actions we needed, and the president is doing that, and trying everything.
You would think so.
Starting with the ceasefire.
I mean, except for greed. But I think the big move was I wasn't expecting another bar the same as yesterday. Like, so.
When I was in my first term, I was I was very close to him relatively.
Or at least maybe shed some position.
But I would talk to President Putin.
Still kind of like the long side, honestly.
It was the apple.
Kind of think it's just
but it would have never happened.
Shaking everybody out,
consequences
shaking out the weak hands, and
when we had a
we'll
rigged election, and all of a sudden I wasn't there. He said,
could be. I'm still in along 2
micros.
Afghanistan,
how horribly that was handled so stupidly, and I think that really gave.
Yeah, I had a real tight stop on mine when I saw that candle coming at me. I'm like,
He wanted the whole thing.
If you want to see this thing pop, just let me short it, and I'll show you how quickly this thing will.
Negotiate a little bit further, and I think he's willing to make a deal.
Isn't it amazing how that works, Chad?
We don't want him.
Truman Show at its best. It's like you really do look around, like what? Is this a joke?
It's serious. It's like when Hogue says sell one for the rally, right? Like if you're long right now, you just sell one, it'll finally start going up.
I think it's one of the most important decisions we'll ever have for the Supreme Court. With tariffs,
or when you get stopped out, you're like, that was the actual, like, tail top, like the exact point. Come on.
Without tariffs, it's a
and that's just one time. Can we just get one time where it missed it, like 1 point, and then just win in my favor? Come on.
I might go there. I really believe I have an obligation
Yeah,
to go there.
we need our own analysts in the straight. Let me know in chat who from Top Step should we send to monitor the traffic
have been used against us
with
for
a pair of meta glasses.
many years, decades, and
I'm inclined to say
slowly
Dolby.
but surely hurting our country so badly. That's why we owe $37 trillion. We owe that because
It sounds like
What
Ron's
are we
halting
getting from
us over many decades.
straight
over
right now.
Many decades, and now. We're a rich country. We're taking in money like we've never
We got
done before.
this
Without
James,
tariffs,
Andre,
that would
Dolby,
not be
Dolby,
happening.
Dolby.
And
A
also,
lot of Dolby's in there.
I solved, as you know,
Okay.
8 wars.
Abe,
Of
James.
the 8,
I think
5
Dolby's
of
the
them,
winner.
maybe even 6 of them are
Based on what
because
I'm
of
seeing
tariffs.
here.
The threat of tariffs on these nations, if you want to fight,
curious
Then
if
All right, Dolby.
India
Use it.
and
Guys, suit
Pakistan,
up.
if you want to fight, that's okay.
Maybe
but you
chat
pay
can answer
tariffs,
this
and they're
too.
gonna be
You guys
very
ever have
substantial.
like words
And
that
when
you
they did
say
some
when you're
trade deal,
trading
they
that
said,
you
"We don't
know
wanna do
it's
that."
like not
2
going to
days
go
later,
right?
they call up and they're not
When you're
gonna
using the
fight
word
anymore.
hope
The
or
peace-
something,
They have peace.
it's
But
like
I've done that.
I'm pretty sure when I'm using the word hope
I would say
or
6 times, 5 times, 6
need
times.
or want, it's like,
Tariffs are
oh, no, you're on
vital
the wrong side.
to this country.
Yeah.
And tariffs have been used against
Or should.
us by China, by every other country, and all we're doing
Or
is using them
justify.
to
I don't know. There's got to be a list of
negotiate fair
words
deals.
that
And as you
should be
know, We made a
alarming.
fair deal with Japan. We made a fair deal with all of Europe.
Yeah, for me it's oh
The
come
European
on.
Union. We made a fair deal
Yeah,
with
sometime.
South Korea. These are countries that
When
were
something
taking so
when something
much
I'm
money
short
away
goes
from
from
us,
like
not sustainable. And now
100
we're
times
hundreds of
revenue
millions and
valuation
even
to like
trillions of
200
dollars.
times, and they're making
Oh,
like
come on.
$7 million a quarter, and they're worth like $15 billion. Yeah.
On behalf of it with tariffs.
Or you've got to be kidding me.
We are,
That would be
we
it.
are
That's
put in
another
a
one of those.
position where we're going to be a third
Yeah.
world country. We can't let that happen. I think it's the most important
Man.
case that we're going
So
to
I
have. for
saw in
many,
chat,
many
usually
years.
4
One of the
letter
most
swear
important
words,
cases
probably.
we've ever had. With tariffs, we're a rich, secure
So
country.
tempted to buy this
Without
thing.
tariffs, we're laughing.
Yeah,
You guys
just
think,
one
right?
time.
Laughing.
What do you
One
think?
time.
Chad, what do you
And
think?
I don't want to have anything to do with that.
Um,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Go for it. Tradertainment.
Thank you very
Come
much.
on.
Entertainment.
Scared money doesn't make money.
That's right. Scared money don't make no money, right? Got a whole song about that.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to
There is a song, or you have a song?
good friend of mine. We've become
No, I think there's a song. It's got that lyrics to it.
trials and tribulations of everything.
I'm loving some of the phrases coming in from chat.
Of NATO,
Here we go.
highly respected.
Gotta love the
Or I
chat.
think-
Chat's great.
Every
Yep.
country
Hit the like
in the
button,
world,
chat. We need them likes up.
in Europe. I think you can almost take away
This
the
time will
R's
be
for this.
different.
But they,
Some
they
good
all have
phrases
great
I
said go
leaders.
YOLO.
He is the leader.
All right, I'm gonna get along
And we've had some very
15
good discussions today, and
full
things are going
size
along pretty well.
ES right now.
Regarding Ukraine, Russia. We thought it would be
Like,
a
like
little bit
the
easier.
old,
It's
like
gonna
the
have to
ES
be tougher for the
contract.
Middle East.
You
The
got the
Middle East
CME to
is
fire
supposed
it
to be
back
the
up
tough
so
one.
Vinny could.
Oh my God, yeah, that thing. That was 5E minis. Was one contract
So
back
I want
then.
to just say it's an honor to have you, Mark.
Traded in dimes.
It was
$25
always
per
important.
tick.
Again, and we were texting.
Yeah.
I think it was
Always
the
important to
day
remember
when we
context,
were
though.
in
You know, you look at those
Israel
old
and
cards. The
Egypt.
S&P was at like
This tremendous
Yeah, what was
success.
it?
400,
600,
right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
one
500,
one
yeah.
once
and
the
they would
S&P
text each
hit
other and said, the next
2,000,
big
for
thing has
instance,
to be
one E-mini at 2,000 was the same
help. Nature wants to
Like
help.
5 million.
exposure as one of the big ones. Yeah.
Deliver on your vision,
Yeah.
peace in Ukraine.
It's something important to remember, especially since we haven't changed our contract limits at Top Step. It's like, man, 15 NQ is a lot of size.
Oh yeah.
Vince, what's the NQ at right now?
NQ is
2572.
25,067.
All right, do we have
5,067. So yeah, 15
Bear flag
NQ is
here? I
basically
mean-
$7.5 million in notional exposure to the Nasdaq 100.
This is a bear flag.
I'll
I
trade
mean,
that
we
with
can
4,000
see this
bucks.
go
What do you
down
think?
to like
Yeah,
25,000.
no, that seems like a very fair limit.
Which I've been looking for since last night.
That is so a 1% move on that is $75,000. That's the thing they like.
Put a practice trade. Let's do
Unless you
a
put them things that are born to fail. If you wanted to know, for instance, if you are trading,
put a short on.
let's say you had a $5,000
South Korea and
stop,
Japan,
you're getting blown
South Korea,
out
I'll be meeting
by
with
a
President Xi of China. We'll have a
0.06% move in the
work out a
Nasdaq.
lot of
Wow.
our
Oh my
questions
gosh.
and our doubts and our tremendous assets.
Oh, I forgot one last
I
thing.
look forward to that. I think something will work out. We have a very good relationship, but that'll be a big one. We canceled.
That's
Or put
yield
another
for
way,
sure.
It didn't
You're
feel
trading
right
with
to me. It didn't feel
1,500
right to
leverage.
get to the place we have to get. So we
1,500.
canceled it.
Wow.
We'll do it in the future, but next week we'll be with many of
A
you.
lot.
in Those
That's a lot of
locations that I
leverage.
told you. Then it's back to Washington. So, thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, please.
Almost enough leverage to move the entire Earth.
It is like a lot of these,
leverage.
you know, margin.
That's a
things are
lot of
insane.
leverage.
A long time. I thought that
It's
would
usually
go long
like with the
before
overnight
news.
leverage. I feel like the equities,
markets,
like
you know,
if you held full overnight margin for like an ES,
From Pakistan and India.
it's probably like. Let me look this up real quick.
I think it's 30,000 or 25.
All these wars I did, and the one that we have left, we have one left. It'll be 9. We have one left, and I think we'll get that done too. I think we're on our way to getting it done.
We have to.
Mr. President, do you have a timeline for when you think the war is going to be over? Because of your leadership.
No, I don't have a timeline. You can't have in war. It's hard to have a timeline. You know, so many things happen in war. Go ahead. Well, the problem with the Tomahawk that a lot of people don't know, it'll take a minimum of 6 months, usually a year, to learn how to use them. They're highly complex. So the only way a Tomahawk is going to be shot is if we shot it, and we're not going to do that. But there is a tremendous learning curve with the Tomahawk. It's a very powerful weapon, very accurate weapon, and maybe that's what makes it so complex. But it will take a year. It takes a year of intense training to learn how to use it. And we know how to use it, and we're not going to be teaching other people. It's too far out into the future.
Yes,
Yes, please.
I saw, Mr. President, that you said recently yesterday that you still believe that he wants to end the war.
Yeah, I
And
do.
you took this step to ratchet the sanctions and put more
Yeah.
pressure on him. What else are we supposed to do to encourage him to get there, or can you explain why you do believe that he wants peace?
Yeah, it's a good question. Today is a very big day in terms of what we're doing. Look, these are tremendous sanctions. These are very big. Those are against their 2 big oil companies, and we hope that they won't be on for long. We hope that the war will be settled. We just answered having to do with various forms of missiles and everything else that we're looking at, but we don't think that's going to be necessary.
It'd be nice if someone came in,
I'd like to see them
watch my stream,
take the line that has been formed over quite a
talk
long
to
period
someone
of
on
time.
chat.
Let's, go home.
Been streaming for 116
Last
minutes.
week we had almost 8,000 soldiers killed. Many Russians were killed last
And I
week.
got someone that
Many
said hello,
Ukrainians were
but
killed
I
last
don't know
week.
if that's a real
We
person.
think it's ridiculous and would like to have it end.
Why do you still believe that?
I I think they want peace. I think they both want peace at this point. It's been, it's almost 4 years. You're going into 4 years. And if I were president, it never would have started. But yeah, it's time.
Let's see if this bear flag plays out.
Well, I think it's a shame that it's shut down because we have the greatest economy, as you were saying before. We have the greatest economy in the world.
This was a pretty big dump. I mean, 1326, like 30,000.
17 now. It's $18 trillion.
More than 30,000 contracts on MNQ.
It's no time for shutdowns. I don't think it's affecting what we're doing. It's too bad for a lot of people. We have a lot of good people that aren't working right now that should be, and it's because the Democrats want to try and renegotiate the deal that they had negotiated. They want $1.5 trillion given to illegal immigrants who came into the country, and it's going to hurt the health care of citizens of our country that have been paying into it, that have been working hard for it, that really deserve it. So we're never going to do that. It's not going to happen. And I will tell you, there are a lot of good Democrats that really want to make a deal. And I think all we need is 5 Democrats because we have a great support on the Republican side. So I think we need 5 Democrats, and there are a lot of them that want to make a deal. So I think at some point, common sense will prevail. Yeah, go ahead, you can finish up.
On the drug coast, right, the Eastern Pacific.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us what that was about, how it was conducted?
Yeah, sure. Well, they had one today in the Pacific. And the way I look at it, every time I look, because it is violent, and it is it's amazing that the weaponry, that everyone, they have these boats that go 45, 50 miles an hour in the water. And
So I'm up like $200 on Express.
We have the greatest military in the world.
I'm up $500 on a practice.
You see a little bit of it there. One shot.
Gotta love how that
everyone dead
works.
center.
The practice
And
is
the only
always
way you
doing
can't
better
feel
than the
bad about
lives.
it is you realize that you won't feel badly about
Well, I
it.
guess it's not
because you
live, it's
realize that
XFA.
Every time you see that happen, you're saving 25,000 American lives. Every one of those boats that gets knocked out is saving 25,000 American lives, not to mention the torn up families all over the country.
Oil stuck in
And
below
whenever I see
100, and that was the
I
plan.
say to myself, I just saved 25,000
That's Trump's plan,
lives.
to keep oil below
I will say
100.
that there are very few
But I
boats
mean,
traveling
technically
on the water right
$99
now.
is below 100 as
Actually,
well.
that includes fishing boats, that includes any other kind of boat. But there are very few boats traveling on the water. So now they'll come in by land to a lesser extent, and they will be hit on land also. Go ahead, in the back, please. Yes, we do. We have legal authority, right? We're allowed to do that. And if we do by land, we may go back to Congress. But this is a national security problem. They killed 300,000 people last year, these drugs coming in. They killed 300,000 Americans last year, and that gives you legal authority. We have a national security, really, I will say this. When you look at the people we're dealing with, and we know them. We know the people coming in. We know the boats. We know everything else. We're allowed to do it. It's in international waters. If we don't do it, we're going to lose hundreds of thousands of people. Now, they'll be coming in by land a little bit more because they're not coming in by boats. There are no boats in the water. There are no more boats. We
There
know
we
the
go.
boat almost immediately. It's pretty unusual when you see somebody
Bear
on a
flag
fishing rod,
initiation.
5 engines on the back of the boat. You don't need that to go fishing. Wait. And we will hit them very hard when they come in by land. And they haven't experienced that yet, but now we're totally prepared to do that. We'll probably go back to Congress and explain exactly what we're doing when we come to the land. We don't have to do that, but I think, Marco, I'd like to do that. You may respond to that if you want.
Yeah, well, I mean, the question is, bottom line, these are drug boats. If people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, stop sending drugs to the United States.
Does it matter if it's in the United States?
Well, these are all in international waters. The boat.
Do a strike in the United States, or if we're the
Well, that's a different matter. Now you're talking about a law enforcement matter. In this particular case, there are people traveling on international waters headed towards the United States with hostilities in mind, which includes flooding our country with dangerous, deadly weapons, and they're going to be stopped. And that's what happens. And
There you go. There's a breakdown.
It was a submarine. It was a submersible. That's a drug boat all the way through. We know what these boats are. The president just said it. We track them from the very beginning. We know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. If you're running drug boats, you're in grave danger.
And drug usage is way down, and drug usage coming from the sea, they call it ocean drugs, a little term that they use, the ocean drugs, is very close to non-existent right now. I wouldn't want to be in one of those boats heading away, they're driving happily to destroy the lives of people, and they end up, that's the end of them. So the ocean drugs and the sea drugs.
So at this point, it looks like it wants to break down.
That's
And it could
almost
break down to
nothing,
25,000.
as you can imagine.
That's a good
So they
holding point.
continue to come in by land at a little bit less because they
We're
see
below
something
the
is gonna happen.
IBL.
They don't like it. They see something, and they're right. Something very serious is going to happen. The equivalent of what's happening by sea.
Let's
and
see.
We're going to Congress just to tell them what we're doing, just to keep them informed. We have to do it for national security. We have to do it to save lives.
Vladimir's Putin has not been honest and forthright in his talks with you. Just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about your feelings about that. And also, if I may, to Nadir Rutte, just your thoughts on whether Ukraine should get tomahawks. Thank you.
Well, I think that in terms of honesty, the only thing I can say is every time I speak with Vladimir, I have good conversations, and then they don't go anywhere. They just don't go anywhere. So, in that sense,
All right,
but,
let's get
you know,
rid of
he's
that.
fighting a war.
Up for almost
He's in a war.
$500 on a
That's,
combine.
two very competent
Or sorry,
sides.
a practice
And that's the
account.
way war is. You never know with war, but I would say that it's time to make a deal. A lot of people are dying. They're not Americans, but they're people. They're souls, and they're dying by the thousands. Worse
We got a
since
little bit of
World War
support
II,
here.
and we really should stop it.
Let's see if it wants to break down
Other
here.
question,
Yeah, please.
Sorry, to your other question, this has been consistent from this president when we first met again after your re-election in Mar-a-Lago in November. You said we have to stop the killing. This is close to your heart, and this is your vision. That's why this war needs to end. But tomahawks, whatever system, is up to individual nations to decide whatever they want to supply to Ukraine. NATO doesn't take a position, but I can assure you this. When the president called me in July and said we want to again send weapons into Ukraine, paid for by our allies, the Canadians and the Europeans, that was an important moment. And that is now taking place, and the ambassador and myself, we're working hard at this. Already a couple of $1 billion of weaponry into Ukraine from the US, paid for the allies. So I'm not going to comment on the tomahawks, but when it comes to the US and all the support for Ukraine, it is there and it is close to the president's heart, and I know this.
I will say this, and Mark can say it better than anybody. The European nations and Canada have really pulled together, and it's beyond even that. I mean, it's really beyond that.
I was with the Australians, the New Zealanders, Japan. They're all.
If you want to really add them up, we could really add them up. But NATO, basically, European and Canada, and a lot of other nations, they've really band together. They are not happy about what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. They're not happy at all. Neither am I. Jeff?
Sir, just changing this topic slightly, I see you've got the model of the White House and the ballroom. Many people were surprised the entire East Wing is being demolished because you had said initially that the ballroom would just touch or would not.
Well,
even touch
certain
it.
areas
What
are being,
happened?
certain areas are being left. We determined that after really a tremendous amount of study with some of the best architects in the world, we determined that really knocking it down, trying to use a little section. The East Wing was not much. It was not much left from the original. It was
Still breaking down. There you go. It's going out.
it was changed. The columns were removed. And
Might just
it was a
crush
much different
support right
building.
now.
Then a story was added on in 1948,
Let's see. Let's put an
1949.
XFA
There was
trade.
a story added on, which was
Gonna
not
keep it
particularly
tight.
nice.
Manual
And
stop.
the building was very, very much changed from what it was
The next
originally.
candle in green. We're
It
out.
was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building. And rather than allowing that to hurt a very expensive, beautiful building that, frankly, they've been after for years, you have that. I brought these along so people could see. but
Ouch. All right.
it's,
I'm going to get out of that.
There's a relative, nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one
I'm
of
going
the
to get in the
great
trade. I
balls
want to see
anywhere in the
momentum
world.
right away. Oh, them
It's
nouns.
about
Oh,
$300
great.
million. It's set to do many, many
Let's see
things,
what the
including
volume
meetings
looks
of
like.
foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see
Yeah, there's
this.
some to the bottom here.
This is a
Let's see.
plan, if it's got
Give it a little bit of
tables so
room.
that you honor a foreign leader. We have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables.
This is
that's
actual
about
money trade.
79
Let's
feet.
go.
And this is a proper kind of a thing. Now, what the White House was doing, as you know, is they were putting tents out on the lawn. This is
Oh, that's an
an
ugly
interior
wick.
shot of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing
Let's
like
see,
it.
we're gonna
It's
get a
being
rejection
paid for
here.
100% by me and some friends of mine, donors.
Are we gonna go back into the zone?
Absolutely nothing. We're also
That
working with
looks
the military on it because they want to make sure
oh,
everything's perfect. And the
that's
military is very
ugly.
much involved in this. They
Oh,
want
what
to
an
make sure
ugly
everything's
move. All right, we're gonna put
You can
add
see the
one
kind of
more.
interiors that we're talking about. That's the interior of the ballroom, and it's the highest level. And you see it goes
Trump's
beautifully with the
showing
White House. I mean,
pictures.
the mix is beautiful. So
When he pulls
over
out
the
his
years,
graphs,
many presidents have made changes. This
that's
obviously
when
would
you
be the
know
biggest
it's
change,
time
but,
to
this was something they've
step
wanted
away.
for at least 150 years. Many of you have gone to the
You got a
events
big
where
wick
they
up
had,
there.
as an
I
example,
like that.
President Xi, or they had
For the
you know,
shorts.
a leader of one of the countries, including the king and the queen from your favorite country,
Absolutely.
frankly. But where
Come
they'd be
on,
honored,
dump
and
it.
They'd be in a tent out on the lawn, and it would rain, and it was a disaster. Brian
Dump it.
said,
Let's
you know what I'm
see.
talking about. And so,
At least
so I bring this up
24,990s
This is going to be
around here. That'd be
probably the
nice.
finest ballroom ever built, and we're
I
doing
mean,
it.
it already hit
no cost
25,000
to the country.
essentially.
It's being put, the money's
7
being
points
put in by
away.
me and donors, very great patriots actually, and the spirit on the building of it
And I
is amazing.
think I'm
We
gonna
are
be
using
out
little
here.
sections of footings and various other things, but that's sort of irrelevant. In order to do it properly, we had to take down
I'll
the
give
existing
one more
structure.
minute
The way it was shown, it looked like we
for
were
the next
touching the White House.
candle.
We don't touch the White House.
That's
That's a
ugly.
bridge, a glass bridge going from the White House to the ballroom. Then you get into the lobby of the
Not
ballroom.
looking
and then you go into
nice.
the magnificent, the main room.
Nvidia's trying
it's
to curl
something
up.
that has gotten incredible reviews.
Okay, so I am.
I just want a quick follow-up on that question.
10
Your
seconds until
response
the
to
next
people who say
candle.
that you haven't been transparent enough about this.
I haven't been transparent.
That some of your
Really?
critics feel it should
I've
have gone
shown,
through a
I've
review.
shown this to everybody that would listen. Third-rate reporters didn't see it because they didn't look. You're a third-rate reporter, always have been. So third-rate reporters didn't look, but anybody that asked, these pictures have been in newspapers. They've been all over the place, and you know we're very proud.
Yeah, I think
It's
I'm just
gotten
gonna get
great
out.
reviews. It's gotten really great reviews. So
Okay.
I think we've been more transparent than anybody.
Made 19 bucks on that trade. Better than losing.
Well, I don't know that they will. I think that they'll certainly have an impact. They're massive sanctions. It's sanctions on oil. The two biggest oil companies, among the biggest in the world, but they're Russian. They do a lot of oil. And hopefully it'll push, hopefully he'll become reasonable, and hopefully Zelensky will be reasonable too. You know, it takes two to tango, as they say, and we're going to find out. They hate each other. These two people hate each other. You know that better than anybody. And it makes it more difficult than it should be. This should be easier to do. But the level of hatred between Zelensky
Oh,
and Putin
it keeps
is
going
very
down.
substantial.
Should have kept that short, I guess.
Could I add one thing? Could I add one thing? Could I add one thing? What the president today
I don't want to chase the trade either now.
putting more pressure, of course, on both parties.
Or
in this
maybe
case,
got
on,
some
Russia.
support
It's all
resistance
about
area
changing
around here too.
Making sure that Putin understands that the president's vision this weekend of having a ceasefire, stop where they are, as you literally said, and that this has to be step one now. And for him to really accept that vision and to come to the table. And then you have to put pressure, and this is exactly what he did today.
Along with Europe. I mean, Europe, look, they've actually become friends of mine. I think all of them.
Yeah.
We have a very close relationship, and they want to see it end too. They really want to see it end. But I can say they're totally committed.
Oh,
This went on for 10 more years.
this
Europe
is
is
going
committed.
down.
They just can't
This
let that
wick
happen.
scared me out. Dang
You
it.
can't let what's been going on. Now, it should have
Wait,
never
this
happened.
should
It
be
would have
the
never happened
resistance
if I
here.
wasn't
Are we going to break
But
through?
it did happen. I inherited. This was
Are we going to test
a man who was,
24,926?
without question, you take a look at the new walkway, the presidential walk of fame, we call it.
Tesla just keeps
Biden is
dumping.
the
This
worst
is horrible.
president we've ever had.
Tesla's just
If he was even a
garbage.
president. The people that surrounded that desk made those decisions. But this should have never happened. It wouldn't have happened. But it did happen. I inherited it. We're going to get it ended hopefully soon. Yes, please.
Social Post earlier this afternoon talking about a Wall Street Journal report. It's a big story.
Yeah. fake.
Yesterday,
Wall Street
Jack. You even
Journal-
said it, right? Didn't we just say that?
Less fake on financial than it is on gossip.
Yeah.
I think eventually, like, holding one stock forever is fun when it's the right one, but I don't know.
No, it
The
said that
index
I
ultimately
gave
wins.
Warren Buffett did, right?
Check this out.
Missiles
Yeah,
deep
1985.
into Russia. I didn't do
Top
that.
10 S&P stocks
Second
by market
of all,
cap
they're
were
not using our missiles. They're using, I think, European missiles are from someplace, but they're not using ours. And what they do, I don't control that, but I do control our missiles. They're not shooting our missiles in. It was a fake story. Wall Street Journal does a lot of fake stories.
Thank you so much. The president of Colombia in a recent interview said that if you won't change, he thinks that people should get rid of you.
We're talking about now Columbia, the country, not the university.
Yes.
Go ahead. He said what?
He said that if you won't change, then perhaps you need to be gotten rid of. Do you view that as a threat?
Well, he's a thug and bad guy. He's a guy that is making a lot of drugs. We've just, as of today, stopped all payments going to Colombia, the country Colombia. Also, the school Colombia. No, we settled. We made a settlement with him. But no, he's a thug, and he's a bad guy, and he's hurt his country very badly. They're doing very poorly, Colombia. They make cocaine. They have cocaine factories. They grow all sorts of crap that's drugs, bad drugs coming into the United States, goes generally through Mexico. And he better watch it or we'll take very serious action against him and his country. His country is, what he has led his country into is a death trap. Please.
Has the Secretary General presented his Ukraine peace plan to you? Are you prepared to be chairman of the board of the peace?
Oh, there is no Secretary General peace plan. But I'm here, I really want to correct it because I saw some of that in the media. Of course, many people are thinking how to bring this terrible war to an end and supporting the president in doing that. Why I'm here is to dialogue again with the president how I can be, how NATO, my colleagues and other colleagues in NATO can be of maximum support to get that done. But there is no peace plan on the table. If there is a peace plan, it is what the president said last Friday and Sunday, which is stop where you are. Stop the fighting.
This is about NATO. We're a very proud member of NATO. We have a great relationship with the countries of NATO. I think made much better by our visit a few months ago when they agreed to 5% instead of 2% of GDP. That was a big concession. I think that was a concession that 2 years ago nobody would have said, even a year ago.
Even 9 months ago, before you were elected.
Yeah, they would have said that's not possible. And the difference is they're paying 5% as opposed to not paying 2%. A lot of them weren't paying, with the exception of Spain. I think you're going to have to talk to Spain because they're not. Spain is not a team player. So other than Spain, everybody's 100%. And you could solve the Spain problem very easily, I think. If you want. Yeah, Brian, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Then we'll take Brian. Go ahead.
The soybean farmers, are they going to be getting support from you soon? And
Yeah, well, they do. So what's happened, you could say with that, you could say with beef, with all of it. The beef, the ranchers, let's say, who have done a great job, have lost their shirts for many, many years. They've really been decimated. And I helped them a lot. I put tariffs on things coming in to the country, including beef. And that gave them a chance to finally have a decent industry. We are going to be talking to them. They're great people, but they've been hurt for 25, 30 years. They've been losing because other countries have taken advantage of them. And by putting tariffs on, they've been able to make a few dollars. They've been able to have an industry. But I also want to keep the beef prices low. So I'll be talking with the ranchers, and I'll be speaking with a lot of different people, including Scott and Howard, and we'll do something. Because prices are way down in our country. Energy is way down. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline very soon. I see that it's $2.50 in a lot of places, $2.50. We were heading to $5, $6, and $7. If Biden didn't go back to my policy toward the end, you would have seen, but he didn't go back to the full policy, and he missed the most important thing. So we were up to, we were way up. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline. We could even break that number. That's a big difference. The only cost that's really up is beef, and the fake news only wants to talk about beef. And what I did is I made it possible for those people to survive. They're incredible people, but they were being decimated by other countries, and I didn't want that to happen. So prices are way down, groceries are down, everything's down, energy's way down. Even interest rates with a bad chairman of the Fed. He's terrible. He's a fool. But even interest rates are down. So our country has never done better. We're going to take in, I think, $21 trillion this year. No country has ever taken in more than 3. And we're going to take in $21 trillion of investments because of the tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be a mess. We would be a national security problem. And we've done a job. So I'm very happy about that. We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that. So we're very proud of that. Yeah, Brian?
Yes, sir. Yesterday in Los Angeles, immigration officials were attacked by some protesters.
Yeah, sure.
To arrest an illegal alien. Gavin Newsom, other Democrats have used very aggressive language in terms of how to address ICE
Yeah.
out in the field. Is there any responsibility that we could place on Gavin Newsom and other elected officials for using such aggressive language?
Well, Gavin has to be careful. Remember that when I first came in, they had a terrible riot in Los Angeles. They had the fires, which shouldn't have happened. They didn't have the water for the fires. They should have had the water coming in from the Pacific Northwest. They didn't have the waters. They didn't have water in the hydrants or the sprinklers. So they had the fires, and then they had the riot. And if we didn't go and take care of that riot, you would have lost Los Angeles. You would have canceled the Olympics, which is because of me in Los Angeles. And the police commissioner, the head of the police, said, if the president didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. We did not have the capability of taking care of it. And he said it very strongly. And we did a great job. And within a week, it was all done. Within one day, it was done. But within a week, it was all done. And then they go back to their normal practice of weakness, of not taking care of criminals, meaning taking care of putting them in jails where they should be. Washington, D.C., and you all are the best people for that, because Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities. It was one of the most dangerous cities in the country. Now Washington, D.C., believe it or not, I'm embarrassed to say it in front of you, but Washington, D.C. went from one of the worst, most dangerous cities to, you can walk down the street, you can send your child to meet you at a location. Your child is going to be fine. We have a very, very safe city, one of the safest, and you know, very proud of that. Memphis, by the way, is coming along fantastically. We're in Memphis right now. We had the FBI in Chicago. We're doing things. We haven't served Chicago yet. When we do, Chicago will be very quickly a very, very safe city. But if you look at what's happening in Memphis, it's great. But you got to look at Washington. People are coming up to me. People that work in the White House are saying, "Thank you, sir," and I immediately know what they're thanking me about. It's thanking. They can walk to work. They would never walk to work a year ago. They can walk into work and they feel safe and secure, and it's beautiful. And I'll tell you what, it's really an honor to add that great ballroom to the structures in Washington. It's going to be one of the great ballrooms of the world, and I think it's going to be something you're all going to be very proud of. I think we'll make a deal. I think we're going to make a deal on the rare earth is the least of it. Look, the tariffs are much more powerful than the rare earth. The rare earth is a disturbance, but there's a lot of rare earth around. I'll tell you, I've had more calls on rare earth. We've got it, everybody's. We'll make a deal on, I think, everything. I think we're going to make a deal on soybeans and the farmers. I think we're going to make a deal on maybe even nuclear. You know, President Putin in his call mentioned to me about nuclear, where we do a de-escalation, and I'm fine with that. I think it's good. I think it's a very appropriate thing. We have the most nuclear weapons. Russia's second. China is actually third by a long way, but they'll be even within 4 or 5 years. Too many. And we are talking about de-escalation. That's already being talked about. And I think we'll probably add China into the mix.
Mr. President, President Xi to stop purchasing all that Russian oil that's funding this war against Ukraine.
Well, I think I'll be talking to him about it. I think it's a little bit of a different talk. India, as you know, has told me they are stop. You know, it's a process. You can't just stop it. But by the end of the year, they'll be down to almost nothing. That's a big thing. That was almost 40% of the oil. India, they've been great. Spoke to Prime Minister Modi yesterday. They've been absolutely great. China's a little bit different, you know, a little bit different relationship
what
they
a
have with
dump.
Russia. It was never good, but because of Biden and Obama, they got forced together.
It's going down.
They haven't been forced together, but they're a
That
little
would have
bit
been a
forced,
great
but they're
short.
By,
Oh, well.
By nature, they're not. They can't be friendly. They can't be friendly. By nature, they can, I hope they are friendly.
I mean, this
frankly,
could be a
but they
cheap
can't be.
short.
You don't want. You should not have forced Russia and China together. And Biden did that, and Obama did that. They forced them together because of energy, because of oil, and so they are closer than they would normally be. I think I'll probably be talking about it. What I'll really be talking to him about is how do we end the war with Russia and Ukraine, whether it's through oil
These
or
last trade.
energy or
Dolby, I
anything
know
else.
the last time we were on air, you were looking at buying crude. Last trade 95.38 over there. What are you seeing here for potential opportunities?
Well, you know, we were trying to work that 30-minute range low in crude, ended up just running a little bit further than we would have liked. So as long as we're in like this 30-minute range in the crude, I would just look to get long to the upside to see if we can get to like these 96.40s or maybe even push higher above that. I mean, it sounds like this ceasefire is probably a little bit too much fire in the ceasefire, so I don't even know if it's even on anymore. And the market's kind of reacting like this is kind of fake news for a ceasefire, so just restart the day and get crude back up to 100 and, you know, just Nasdaq back down to 23,000. Is that what we're doing?
Do over? Just redo
That's,
it?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, with the comments that came out last night, right? The markets responded favorably. Obviously, you know, oil was down, equities were up, and like Hogan's been saying, the markets need good news. But
Try to
if
long
right
here,
after
try
the
to
good
get
news,
back
you
into
get
this
bad
area
news,
up here.
what do you do?
I mean, so far
What
we're
do these markets do?
The next candle's
still
red.
higher,
Yeah,
right? We're still
cancel.
2.5%
Still
higher here than that.
Only for one
So
thing, and that is to make sure that we end.
throw in some good news and then
no.
doesn't get erased with bad news.
Right. Not yet, at least, right? Just a little bit of a pullback. Then I guess we could see it
Not
like
yet.
that, Dakota.
Yeah, not. I mean,
Just a
crude
slight
oil is still
pullback.
down over 15%. So crude's still down over
Right.
15%. So there's something
Nasdaq's
there.
up 2.5.
About 2 billion.
Yeah, percentages feel like they almost don't matter considering the price action today. So it's all news driven, right? It's like you could be up a couple hundred points, down a couple hundred points, and Nasdaq could still be up 2%. It's like, it doesn't really feel like that. It does not feel like it.
A little bit of liquidity up.
It's two separate trading days, right? You got the overnight session with that rally, and then from the New York
25,000.
session, we're down 1% in the Nasdaq, right? So it is
Right.
almost
Very
two
true.
different days.
And you know how I feel.
It's not like
in
the NVIDIA AI days where 2.5% in Nasdaq is just a 45-degree line straight up for
Bad
7
trade.
hours. Like that feels like 2.5%.
Infinite bid.
Should have kept that on the practice.
How do we get long crude?
We sell them to.
How do we get long crude?
Right.
In theory, you can do what you want with them. It doesn't have to be Ukraine, but
I'm looking for short Nasdaq.
That market order buy.
Yeah, if I press that button, it's a losing trade, Jay. I don't know why that works, but that's how that works.
That is true.
I'm short the Nasdaq.
Gold selling off. All right, what price you get there, Dakota?
66. And this is one I will look to build a position. I would look to build a position here.
24,966 short one.
Yep, 966 short one. Looking for a build, a position. We'll retest these lows, maybe even break new lows. I'd be looking for 914s, lower 900s. Tesla's got
gold
hit.
selling hard here. What's Tesla at right now?
It's down 1.75%.
When I was in my first term, I was with.
What did Elon do?
Very close to him, relatively
Who knows?
speaking. It was hard.
He didn't do anything. He's trying to launch satellites into space.
I would talk to President
Right.
Putin
He's
about Ukraine.
catching
It was
hate
the
from
apple of his
everybody.
eye, I'd say. It was the apple of his eye. But it would have
I'll
never
add
happened.
if we break
He knew
below
the consequences
955.
were too great. When we had a rigged election,
I got a bid
and
in
all
it.
of a sudden I wasn't
955s.
there, he said, "Wow." I think he
Crude's
looked at
like
what price over?
Afghanistan, how horrible it was, and
95.38 in the
stupidly.
MCL.
And I think that really gave him a little
38.
additional,
Gold is just continuing to get sold off here. And I took a losing day in my live account today, but shorting gold, and that was the play.
But I think
Just
now he's willing to
a little bit of a pull up, but what a trade here in gold. 47.28. Dakota, After we saw that
Alright,
that
get
1,000
out
lot
of
fill,
We don't want
I
him.
know that we traded much higher than that price last night.
Last night,
We
that
looked
big
above
order.
it. Yeah, we looked above it, but once it became a resistance, that was it for the day. We're down almost $120 from there.
Never wrong, just early.
Some liquidity to
Yep.
at least like 25,000.
Feel that.
I moved my
But they
sell
can move
stop
that
at
down pretty
962
quick.
here.
Nationally secure and
Triggered in.
internationally secure
Short
country.
2.
There you go.
We're a very rich country.
Nice.
Sell it, it goes lower.
It's a
It's a good way to trade.
big slog. I think it's one of the most important
Love stop
decisions
orders.
in the history of the Supreme Court.
I want to build
And
3. I want to
might go
build 3
there.
here.
I really believe I have an obligation.
You have a target on this one, or?
We are doing so
Lower.
well as a country right now because
We're looking
of
for
I'm in.
900.
There we
Lower
go.
900.
Take it to zero.
For
All right.
Don't take it.
many years,
Build on my third
decades.
contract right there.
And
So
just-
short 3.
just
See if we can
slowly
get that
All right, let's see.
momentum.
our country so badly.
Break
That's why we
these.
owe
I'm looking for
$37 billion. We owe that because other
Quick
countries
wick
You know
down.
what we got to do.
Let's take out
You know what we got to do. It is power hour.
24,000.
Hashtag power hour.
900
Tag
area.
us in all of your trader setups, your wins, your losses, and all of that. But let's play a little game around here called
I solved, as you know, 8
Above Below.
wars. Of the 8,
So,
5 of them,
Dakota,
maybe even
I know your
6 of
target
them
is
are
lower.
because
We'll
of
let you
tariffs.
focus on that
The
trade. Dolby,
threat
if you
of
want to set
tariffs
the
on
above
these
below today.
nations, if you
I'm
want to fight,
notoriously
that's
bad
okay.
at this.
Don't
India
like all
and Pakistan. If you
No
want
time
to
on
say
moving every 9 days.
25,000
Just curling up
units.
now.
and we're in the
That's
midst
what
of
I
a
would've
trade
picked the
Worst
same
deficit.
time.
We don't wanna
Ah.
have it. 2 days
Perfect.
later, they call up and they're not.
That's 2 bad trades in a row. 3
We're
bad
offering
trades in a
up
row.
24,979
I've done that
as
out
well.
of 8. I would say 6 times, 5 times, 6 times.
All right.
I'm
Tariffs
still looking
are
at
vital
this position.
to this
We
country.
can keep
And
breaking
tariffs
down.
have been used against us
So far, no
by
good.
China, by every other country, and all we're doing is
Poll
using
is
them
up in the
to
chat. Will the NQ
negotiate
finish
fair deals.
above
And as
or
you know, we
below
made a fair deal with
25,000? Currently
Japan,
trading
we made a fair deal with all of Europe.
24,966.
The European Union. We made a fair
Odds right
deal
now are
with
in the favors of the
South
below,
Korea.
but
These are countries that
anything
were
can happen during this last
taking
hour. We're only
so
7
much
minutes
money
in.
away from us, not sustainable. And
Get your
now
votes in there.
we're taking in hundreds of billions and
We're
even
going to pull this
trillions
crude
of
order in
dollars.
favor of this
If
Nasdaq
this
short,
country
which I
is
think
not
we have a
allowed
better
to have
chance of getting
tariffs,
filled on. We're
if
actually
this
pretty
country
close
is
to
not
it.
allowed to have the
Looking for
president of the
979s
United States
on the
negotiate on
shorts.
behalf of it with tariffs.
979s to the short side in.
I mean, there's some
where we're going to be a third world country.
space to
Can't
go
let that
up.
happen.
Superpower
sorry,
Rally says
it's
below
Nasdaq.
25K. Come on.
Case
Right, we're
that
short.
we're going to have for many, many years to come. One of the most important cases we've
Oof,
ever had.
short one.
With tariffs, we're a
Hey,
rich,
little poppy here.
secure
Get this,
country.
What is
get
this
this
about?
momentum.
Without tariffs, we're laughing.
I don't know,
Come
Dobie. You said
on.
25,000 is the market. Said, okay, let's see if we can go there right now.
Nothing to do with that.
24,981
Thank you.
last trade.
Well, crude's not really reciprocating here. I mean, it's still trading like
It's not.
95.62. So I'm not really
One
sure
pump up,
what this
one
bounce is
pump
about
up.
in Nasdaq, unless someone knows something that we
995.
don't, which is probably every day.
Every
Probably
day.
every day.
Ah.
Where's your stop at, Dakota?
Ouch.
Yeah, 25,019.
Bad trade.
But
Oh,
yeah,
19.
019. And I'm looking to keep adding to this position.
Every country, almost every country
Nice.
in Europe.
Using a
Short
sell
3
stop.
currently.
No, I just want to get out
Yep,
of this
short
trade.
3.
Ouch.
We all have great respect for the leader, and he is the leader. And we've had some very
See
good
what we got here. Oh,
discussions
got some
today.
size on the
It's
S&P
going
book
along
there.
pretty well as
Crude bidding
regarding
again,
I don't know why I just
95.80.
They're moving the
I
liquidity
just
down.
felt that there. It was a 500 lot in the S&P. Okay, they just pulled it. It was
It's gonna have to be
6803s.
tougher than the Middle East. The Middle East was supposed to be the tough one, and we've solved that
Nasdaq
puzzle.
does have a habit
This one
of
will
going
get
up
solved
before it goes
I might have
down,
to cut
and
this.
vice versa, which is a pretty
Went too
obnoxious
hard.
personality trait of
For
Nasdaq.
hosting again, and we were texting.
Pick a direction.
It was on the day when you were in
How come you have to
Israel,
bounce 30
Egypt,
points before you go down
this
90?
Tremendous success you had under your leadership.
Get better pricing.
Still pushing.
Needs everyone's stop.
It does. And honestly, maybe there's something to be said about that. You know, it's a pretty thin market, so maybe they can just go and get everyone's stop. Probably doesn't cost them a whole lot. 95.82s in the crude. Should have just us talking more buying.
Let's take me out of this trade, please. Oil's going up
See
now.
if equities could get some selling pressure here.
I mean, Nasdaq is fashionably late if it's trying to sell off right
got
now.
out of
Crude
that.
is now 95.89.
Ugly trade.
Looking pretty strong to the upside here. Look at this Nasdaq.
Catching a little bit of a bid here. 6803s last trade in the S&P. 24,991 last trade here in the Nasdaq. Get your votes in there, everybody.
They're
Can't wait
moving
to
the
see what happens.
trades.
25,000. We're almost
150
25,000.
volume.
I'm
Right
offering
there. Nobody said it,
25,000.
and the market said, okay.
Yeah, there's no big volume.
I'm offering 25,000.
25,000. I got you. Coming up. Sell another one, 25,000.
And as you know, we
Me? No, I'm going to add using sell stops. If I lose, I want to lose on a
the way
smaller
down.
position.
be going to Malaysia,
Yeah, makes sense.
Korea, and Japan.
Let's see. Let's put another long in.
Makes sense here. I want to give a shout out to Antonio earlier. He was talking about these candles.
Bringing up the
These
orders.
wickless candles. We ran the high of that 5-minute wick, and the market sold off from that point. So there is something to that.
Yeah. Hey, so it's the beauty of Top Step TV. Got a lot of different traders on here.
Yep. That is not something I normally look at, but
Look at all those orders.
you
I
see where
put
the
in.
market turned around on the 5-minute
I thought I
chart
saw
short
something,
two.
but it was just a little too late.
White House tweeted no panicking.
Back to Washington.
What does that mean?
Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah,
It means we're in the most interesting time to be.
Is that like a meme or
alive
something?
right now,
All
Dover.
right, Trump's just talking.
The White House is just.
I don't even think that's live. I'm gonna cancel that. All right, wants to break through. Are we gonna get into this zone here? Volume saying maybe. Okay, here. Let's put a long in. Nah, ugly. Oh. As soon as I caught it, it wants to go back up. Typical. That's an ugly candle. Volume's drying up again. There's a couple orders at 25,025. Tesla's trying to curl up. Nvidia's coming up. That's a decent red candle right there. Is it a fake out or are we gonna dump it? Like I was long in here and it just kept going up. I got out right here. No, I got out. Where the heck did I get out? No, it was short. And then I got out over here. Ah, this guy don't mess me up. Alright, let's see. That's a nice wick. Ouch. That's not looking good. Ouch. Getting worse. Let's keep above 25,000. Come on, boys. Keep the buys coming. Buy it. Ouch. Look at that. That's an ugly candle. See a wick. Come on. I think I might have to get out of it. Ouch. Oh. I might chase this all the way down. Ah, man. That's a brutal move. Keep 25,000. Come on. I'm long at 25,000 exactly. Wow. Ouch. Like 3 or 4 bad trades in a row. Time to call it, I think. I mean, there's some resistance here. If it breaks through that zone, I mean, we can go just keep going down. That'd be the worst. And they're bringing the liquidity down too. 10 points at a time. Let's add one more. I'm in 4 micros, and there you go. I'm gonna add a bunch here. I think we're gonna get at least a little reaction up here. Lets me get out. See one green candle. One green candle, please. Just need a green candle. There you go. All right, we're out. All right, we're gonna call it a day. I'll be back after hours. Thanks for tuning in.